Hello everyone, welcome back to Let's Play Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve. This is Vita Fuser. In our last episode, we got some more exposition about the person we're tracking down, Mr. Enoch Drebber. We visited the Forensic Institute, and Gina got scared out of her wits by the fact that this scene is actually kind of spooky. Let's get back to our investigation. You should try being the one on the other end of the barrel. So, what brings you here, Gina? What brings me here? What do you think? We found it! We found that Dodgy Cove's workshop. You found Drebber's workshop? Yup. Toby's nose took me straight there. The boss and the others are heading over there in a drag. So come on! Here's the address, got the boss to write it out. Thank you, Gina. We'll make our way there at once. Alright then, see you there. You go. Don't mind me. I'll just stay here, being still. What? I know my place, in the exhibit over there. Oh dear, someone's feeling sorry for themselves. Let's go, Mr. Sholmes. You're coming. Your words heart me, I must say. But if I were to shirk my duties here, Madam would have me pay monetary recompense, and Iris's dinner plate would be empty once more. Forget that, I'll pay for everything. Then there's not a moment to lose, my dear fellow. I shall hail a carriage at once. No offer to share the cost for Mr. Sholmes, then. I'll gladly pay half, Mr. Naruhodo. Thank you, Miss Susato. Let's go. That looks like it's another super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine. Indeed, it would appear so, though only a prototype, naturally. Ah, so you got here then. Well done for finding this place, and in such a little time. You've really worked miracles. It's Toby is who's a miracle worker. Ah, I thought you would show up before long. No, Inspector, that's one knitted brow. He looks like he's eating a lemon, not a bag of fish and chips. So, Inspector, is there any sign of the engineer? Sadly not. We didn't find a soul in here. Oh, what a shame. Well, thank you for letting us know about this place and giving us the chance to investigate. I don't know what Gina tells me. We only found it thanks to a clue you lot turned up. I wouldn't want to say go to Paris without with a debt of gratitude unpaid now, would I? Thank you. Anyway, get up and snoop around in here. I'll get cracking. Old Van Zeek's and the forensic investigation team are on the way here as we speak. Them again. Imagine you've got the picture by now. They don't take too kindly to lawyer types. Right. So then, my dear fellow, let us turn this place upside down whilst we have the chance. And you, Sholmes... Pardon? I take even less kindly to great detectives than they do to lawyers. Ha 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 ha! Very droll, Gregson, very droll. But you may consider me nothing more than an inconspicuous waxwork model. Whatever you say. What have we got here? I'm sorry, Mr. Naruhodo. That machine is covered by the special dispensation for... There would be serious repercussions if you were to examine it. From the Crown and the government. Those two don't seem to be holding back. It's quite hollow inside. No working parts or devices of deception to be seen, my dear fellow. No loose change dropped on the floor, nothing. Not another bone for Toby here, my dear fellow. British people are very much ruled by their own ideals, aren't they? I think that's just these two, Miss Susato. Ah, this appears to be most interesting. Yes, most interesting, wouldn't you say? It's an impressive-looking back massager, that's for sure. I've no doubt you hit your shoulders a few times with that. Your aches and pains would soon go away. It's a Royal Society trophy for excellence in science. A young scientist could wish for no higher honor. Would you like a massage? No, I'm fine. I had no idea it was such a grand thing. I think it's becoming increasingly clear that there's much more to this Mr. Enoch Drebber than conjuring tricks. I couldn't agree more, my dear madam. And how about you, Mr. Naruhodo? Would you like to take it with you? For your tired shoulders, of course. He's not gonna let that go, is he? It's curious, though, isn't it? You would expect such an important trophy to be proudly on display somewhere, not haphazardly cast aside. English gentlemen can be quite a mystery at times. Alright, we have... a quiver. This is a quiver. A European-style quiver of arrows, with steel bolts inside. Do you suppose... Crossbow bolts, these. It's just the raw size for the bow you lot turned up at the exhibition grounds. In other words... Yep, that's more evidence to support your theory. It all goes to show Drebber was the one pulling the strings behind the scenes of this whole scam. This door doesn't want to be open. Yeah, it looks like it's got a pretty hefty lock on it. There's a specialist locksmith on his way over from the yard, so hands off till he gets here. With permission, Inspector, I could have that lock open in less than a minute. Well, you don't have permission. And no one's giving it to you. Gregson looked as though he really enjoyed that. Well, there's no sound of anybody on the other side. No, Drebber must have fled at first sign of danger. There's a thud on the other end. Oh, is something wrong, Miss Susato? Well, I thought I heard a noise. From the far side of that door. Well, Gina, did you hear it too? Yeah, I heard it all. What do you reckon, Toby? Right mind the grease. Where is it now? Open out. This is Scotland Yard. Someone is in there. Alright, this rotten bleeding lock. My dear Gregson, as I said only minutes ago, if only it were countenanced, I could unlock that door in less than a minute. Fine, I'll take the rep for it. Just get us through that blasted door. There! You may enter at will. You've confused minutes with seconds, I think. Time is of the essence, I feel. What are we waiting for? Nothing for it, I suppose. This is an emergency. There's one strong possibility behind that door, is the engineer you all seek. Be prepared for action, my dear fellow. What? There's a bomb in there. Why is everything upside down? Right, there ain't no one in here either. But there must be. It was only moments ago we heard those noises. That was the sound of Drebber running away. There's only one door into this room. And no windows that could afford an escape route. Those skylights are too high. There's footsteps up there, though. Are they footprints? On the ceiling? Blow me, what were you then? Looks like someone was trying to burn something in a hurry. Well, that looks like a set of blueprints to what? That Professor Hairbrain's bonding machine, isn't it? Blimey, if we had these, there'd have been no need to muck about trying to investigate all that scrap metal. There is something of great interest here, too. The rope was lying on the floor at the foot of that pillar. Never mind. You see, but you do not observe, Mr. Naruhodo. We must investigate the entire room thoroughly before the forensic team investigate, too. Mr. Jones, have you found something? Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, in point of fact, something rather fascinating. Of this. Let's see. I've never seen anything like it before. It looks like a bundle of thick cigars wrapped up in a large watch. Ah! Miss Susato, what's the matter? Surely that's a time bomb, isn't it? What? Here you say? A time bomb? Sorry, but what is a time bomb? Exactly? Ah. You truly are one of a kind, Mr. Naruhodo. I won't take that as a compliment. You don't know nothing, do you, Odo? You haven't got a clue what it is either, have you, Gina? I invite you to consult a dictionary later, Mr. Naruhodo. But this particular specimen is no time bomb, though I confess it has a very similar appearance. Well, thank goodness. But then what is it? I see. So that's it. Mr. Sholmes, have you seen to the heart of the matter? There are times when I consider my lot most unfair, for I am fated never to know how it feels to flounder as when you do when a puzzle presents itself. But I have learned to accept the hardships that come with being a great detective, Miss Susato. Here we go, I feel a great deduction coming. Once again, I can draw two conclusions from the scene we see before us. Is that the inverted nature of this furniture is the work of Mr. Drebber himself. How could you... And the second conclusion is that the small device on there is, without a question, completely genuine. You must explain everything. It would be a pleasure. After all, it is great detective civic duty to teach Scotland Yard the finer points of the trade. Oof. Well, Inspector Gregson seems delighted with the idea anyway. Ha ha! Oh, you deflected the inspector's glare with such fortitude there, Mr. Sholmes. Well done. You're too kind, my dear madam. I hereby dedicate this great deduction to you. Kindly stand just there, Miss Susato. Yes. Shall we begin? Once again, Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. Alrighty. Flip the furniture. It's plain to see that this room is in complete disarray. The bed, the table, chairs, the lamp, everything is upside down. Almost as if the very room had until recently been happily positioned on the ceiling, before falling straight down onto the floor. Every item in the room was on the ceiling. Are you suggesting that? Indeed, the key here is gravity. No, it's not. It would appear that technology has at last succeeded in freeing us from the great pull of the earth. The gravity in this room was reversed by then and suddenly restored to... Oh, God. inverted furniture clearly reveals the truth about the part. I quite understand your skepticism. I too was incredulous at first. My conviction is in my allowances was cemented when I observed this. An anti... No. Why does it have a clock on it? Because it's a time bomb. No, no, no. Just no. One moment. Okay. Now that we have that out of the way. Sorry for the rude interruption. A scam call decided to try to take up my time. Alright, the next conundrum. What was our engineer friend's aim? The footsteps, yes. How is it possible there are footprints all the way up there on the ceiling? What? Well, I could understand that. Accepting the skylight, that is. Oh, here we go. No, no, we can't do gravity stuff here either. He reversed the pull of gravity and fled via the skylight. No, he did not. And personally, I should very much like to reverse the pull of gravity again now, just for fun. You would. She's completely spellbound. Mr. Sholmes, there's just one thing that troubles me. I'd expect nothing less. You're destined to be troubled by just one thing for the rest of your life. The thing is such a thing actually possible? An anti-gravity device, I mean. I'd say that with man's current scientific knowledge as the turn of the 20th century, it's still not possible. It's no more possible than instantaneous kinesis. Why'd you do that, then? When you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth. Yep, that's Sherlock Holmes, all right. It's a marvelous line, wouldn't you agree? One of my more endearing pearls of wisdom. Had Iris come up with the exact phrasing, my original was clumsy. It bet it was. There is one other thing, Mr. Sholmes. The spell's broken at last. The rope you found was on the floor, wasn't it? Indeed it was, in lovely coils near the wall. But if Mr. Drebber had used it to escape in the way you described, wouldn't it still be tied to the wall? mysterious, inevitably unravel in the end. Others think you'll find 2 ropes. And as evidence of such, you'll need only look at the mystery we faced in this room, now skillfully unraveled. That argument is as circular as the coils of ropes. I think perhaps we might need to give Mr. Sholmes the usual little helping hand. With some minor corrections, the great detective's deduction will lead us to the truth. Before Enoch gets too far away. Let's go. All day. It's plain to see, blah blah blah. No, it's not gravity itself. I think gravity. No, it couldn't have. The man himself admitted it was a scientific impossibility, so... When you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth. Yeah, he just said it like 5 minutes ago. Hang on. The face is upright. That's not the point. The face is upright. This upright face clearly reveals the truth about the part gravity played. Upon my word, Mr. Naruto, you surprised yourself by completely turning my argument on its head. Trying to impress your assistant here, perhaps? No one's trying to steal your spotlight here, Mr. Sholmes. Trust me. As you rightly say, it appears as though, first glance, that all the furniture in the room is upside down. This unassuming, slender vase is standing keenly to attention. And unlike the large safe, there is nothing affixing it to the floor. And it's the exception that breaks the rule. In short, much as it pains me, the gravity in this room was never inverted at all. My deepest sympathies for your loss. Poor Mr. Sholmes. But the show must go on, so let us continue with our deductions. Now that we know this contrivance is not in fact an anti-gravity device, there remains but one other possibility. You don't say. Someone deliberately turned over every piece of furniture in here. Which might sound obvious, but leaves one mystery very much unsolved. Namely, why would anyone choose to do that? And naturally there's an explanation. Yes, the reason why it is because it's not an anti-gravity device. Yeesh. Well, well, well.
Take that!
Safe combination. Yes, the reason why everything in here has been turned upside down is because of the safe combination. Precisely. I believe, Mr. Naruhodo, that you had a very similar experience once, did you not? Yes, last year, when I bought a lottery ticket and noted the ticket number down on the inside cover of a book, just in case. That's it, for people who are forgetful souls at heart and always make a written note of important information. Just keeping the ticket itself safe would have been more sensible, I think. And what, pray, happened next to Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, when the day of the draw came round, I'd forgotten which book I'd written the number in and had to turn my room upside down to find it. That's it! For people who are forgetful souls at heart and always forget where they've noted things down. Not if you always note things in the same place. I actually won the second prize, you know. But I couldn't remember which magazine I'd slipped the ticket into, so I had to turn my room upside down. Thank you, I believe I've proved my point now. Which is that a very similar scenario clearly unfolded in this room. Finding himself requiring access to the safe, the occupant of this room needed the combination code. He remembered he'd written down on the underside of a piece of furniture, but forgot which one, leading to the state which we now find the room. Yes, Mr. Drebber overturned all the furniture in here, in a desperate hurry to locate the combination code that would unlock the safe. There. Now, let us consider the next conundrum. What was our engineer's friend's aim? No, it's not up there. Alright, let's see what we have here now. Well, if a change in the direction of gravity can't explain it, how'd those footprints get up there? Time to figure out what we've got. It was minutes ago, and those halcyon days never existed in the first place. Time to put our faith in Mr. Sholmes. Well, we have a shoe.
Take that!
The reason there are footprints on this ceiling is because of the nearby shoe. And on closer inspection, there are clearly footprints all over the balloon here as well. In other words, aim was never the skylight at all, but at the balloon. But for what purpose? A green balloon. That seems somewhat familiar in data. That was a piece of the green balloon's envelope that Mr. Naruhodo and Iris found at the scene. And inside the green balloon was that Mr. Gotts claimed he saw above the stage when the incident occurred. Was the second birdcage, the crux of the whole instantaneous kinesis deception. You mean to say, if we assume the balloon here is a model of the one used in the day, there is a strong possibility something may be concealed inside of it. Something our absconder was desperate to retrieve before making a hasty getaway. But the balloon's out of reach, hence why he resorted to a projectile, namely a tissue. Most probably Drebber intended to tear a hole in the envelope by assailing it with a shoe. However, his efforts were thwarted when the shoe itself became a prisoner of those lofty heights. Oh dear, we desperately need to examine that balloon. If only there was some way we could see inside. You may recall that I found this in the room earlier, which I believe offers a solution. The rope. To reach the intended destination, what better tool than the rope? No, I don't think so. Alright, I have to admit, that was clever. So we just throw the rope up to the balloon and then pull it down to us on the ground. Which is much easier said than done, I feel. It will take us a very long time as well, and we don't have that time. We already have one, of course, don't we? Yeah, we do.
Take that!
To reach the intended destination, what better tool than the crossbow? This was found at the scene, in fact. In all likelihood belongs to Mr. Drebber. The man had only brought it away with that day. He could have avoided losing a shoe at such a critical time as this. So, shall we? Your curiosity is deeply stirred, no doubt, my dear fellows. What is it that Enoch Drebber has hidden inside that balloon? Ah! It's the head of the frigging waxworks guy. A waxwork? Indeed it is. A waxwork head inside a metal mask. A head that is shut tight and fastened with a strong and quite impenetrable lock. So we can't see the face inside, that means. Just a moment. This is the head of that waxwork model. Does that mean... Oh, goodness! I see you've joined the dots, Miss Susato. Excellent. Of course, a headless waxwork model. The case of the abducted Madame Puspel's model that you largely solved. It was only just the head of the killer that was still missing. Indeed it was. But I believe Madame Puspel's will now have to settle for a sizable account with me. This, as you have now surmised, is the head of the infamous Professor. Yes, but why is it here? This conclusively confirms my suspicions. The man responsible for stealing the Professor from Madame Puspel's and returning it sans tête earlier today was none other than Enoch Drebber. This is incredible. Professor Hairbrain's case and the waxwork abduction are inextricably linked by Enoch Drebber's workshop. Well, it appears our logical pleasure cruise has come to an end, my dear fellows. All that remains is to speak with the architect of this adventure. The architect? You mean Mr. Drebber? It seems quite impossible that he escaped via one of the skylights. Obviously, the man must still be here in the room. What? And his location should be abundantly clear. If you simply reflect on the journey we've made together during this deduction. Enoch Drebber is right here somewhere in this room. He's in the safe.
Take that!
Before we gained access to this back room, we heard noises from in here, which tells us that the engineer was still in the building and at that point in time. He was in fact searching for the combination to his safe. And pressed for time made no attempt to right the furniture he overturned in the process, from which we can deduce that his search for the combination happened very recently indeed. In summary, Mr. Enoch Drebber is at this very moment inside the safe. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of this topsy-turvy puzzle. That's better. Deduction complete. Elementary. So, Mr. Naruhodo, I think perhaps it's time we ended this game of hide-and-seek, don't you? By opening the safe, you mean? What else? Let's see. The combination was 1432582. I knew that. Alright then, let's go. He even acts like a cyborg. What then, sir? Mr. Enoch Drebber, I presume? Correct. You better stop talking. You tricked Professor Hairbrain with that bogus machine you built. And you shall have to explain the theft of the waxwork from Madame Tusspel's as well. Whilst I would be delighted to answer your many questions. This guy is cool. Personally, I would advise that you deactivate my little parcel first. Deactivate your parcel? I refer, of course, to the time bomb I left in a most prominent position. Ah! Ha, ha, ha. I see. Stunned silence. You're all gearing up to die with me, then? No! Mr. Sholmes, with only 7 seconds to spare. That was too close for comfort. I got 1 foot in the grave already. Are you trying to help us get a killer? It's no ordinary safe. It's specially designed. A dynamite explosion wouldn't leave a scratch on it. So in fact, the safe was the only safe place. Precisely. But once you climbed inside, you wouldn't have been able to get out again. I invite you to look more closely. The safe is filled with a handle inside to allow the door to be locked from within. So it is. I'd always intended to blow this place to smithers in any case. I just wasn't expected uninvited guests to come along and screw up my plans. Do you mean to say you were planning to blow us all up? No, that was unforeseen. What do you mean? Most people run, you see, when they see a ticking time bomb at their feet. Ah, I calculated the time required for retreat to a safe distance and set the device accordingly. But your seemingly endless discourse in here threw a spanner in the works. Yep, that's you. Is something wrong, Gregson? Do I have something on my face, besides the usual eyes, ears, nose, and mouth? I think we have a fairly good idea of what's been going on here now. But what about the 2 incidents you've evidently been involved in recently? Professor Hairbrain's instantaneous kinesis experiment at the Grand Exhibition, and the waxwork model you stole, which this head belongs to. That's no ordinary head, you know. That's the head of the professor. Cat clad in a mask with a lock so strong I'm unable to open it safely to reveal the killer's identity. I've been considering carrying it around as protection. After all, that's enough! What's going on here, Gregson? I'm sure you're aware that I have sole jurisdiction to investigate here. Yeah, well, Dr. Sith again. So the forensic investigation team are here. And you know full well this engineer is a key witness. Why are you allowing this lawyer access to him? If Lord Strongheart knew of this, you'd be finished. You lot, leave at once. My dear madam, there's no need for such a threatening tone, I assure you. After all, that's no way to greet an old acquaintance. Is it, Dr. Sith? Hello, Sholmes. Mr. Sholmes knows Dr. Sith? If it's protecting the machine next door that's causing such a sour expression on your face, you're quite misguided. It's really nothing more than a shell. You get out! But of course, we'll show ourselves the door. I see you haven't softened at all. Mr. Naruto? Yes? It would appear that our delightful, entertaining investigations have run their course for today. But Mr. Jones, let us leave this place in the doctor's capable hands. I said get out, now! All of you! Your presence here is not required either, Gregson. Understood. I'll just say one thing before I head off. If it wasn't for this lawyer and his companions, we'd never have found this place, and the whole workshop would have been blown to bits. There was a time bomb set in here that this lot disarmed. Inspector. Something giving you a chuckle, has it, Drebber? Ah, so sorry. Didn't mean to offend. You're quite right, of course. But you did disarm the time bomb, didn't you? Yes, you did disarm that one. What are you? That one? You mean... There's another one. There's one on the frigging machine up there. Holy crap, this guy's good. It was an hour later we heard the news of the enormous explosion that ripped through the experimentation stage of the Great Exhibition. Professor Hairbrain's invention and all its secrets were blown away forever. To be continued. And we will consider all that in the next episode.